Good afternoon to all you folks out there on Facebook Live. I'm Kaye England coming from Yoder's Department Store and Cotton Corner in Shipshewana, Indiana. We're on the second day of our birthday celebration. Now, for you folks in our audience that were here yesterday, did you hear us sing happy birthday to Yoder's Department Store? We did that yesterday. I'm not going to sing again, but we did it yesterday. And you want to sing again? We'll just say happy birthday, Yoder's Department Store. Come on. Happy birthday, Yoder's Department Store. There you go. What we're going to be doing is covering a few different things with you in the different segments. We have one now. We have another one in the next hour and another one the following hour. So we would love for you to join us there. And for those on Facebook Live, if you like the Facebook at Yoder Department Store, don't they get a drawing? Isn't there a drawing or something? There's a drawing, and when does that happen? Shall tell me about the drawing. 12:30, 1:30, and 2:30. So if you like Facebook Live, and for those of you in our audience, Yoder Department Store, Facebook, on Facebook. And for those of you in the audience, if you have, then you would be in that drawing. So if you don't know how, hold your hand up if you've got a phone and somebody will help you like Yoder Department Store. Then you get in the drawing, and they gave away $75 gift certificates yesterday. So I wouldn't mind having one of those. So what we're going to be talking about in this segment, we're going to be a little quick and try not to take up all your time, and then we'll be back with a second session at 2 o'clock that will be a little bit more in detail, but I'm going to segue, cameraman, over to, see, I have to notify that I'm leaving the premises. So I'm going to walk over to the quilt that we're going to be talking about today. And in front of us, what we're unveiling here, this is the first time this has been seen, is the block of the month. My newest fabric collection with Wilmington prints is called Sapphire Blossoms. But once we name a fabric line and then we do a block of the month, what we do is rename that block of the month. So this particular block of the month is called Sapphire Stars, but it is done with Sapphire Blossoms fabric collection. And the way that Wilmington does their block of the month quilts now is they are in a bag to go out the door. Now, there are some shops that may decide they're going to hold a class on each segment, but the notebook is fairly detailed, the patterns that come with it. Do you folks, any of us, do you work on block of the months? Do you guys do block of the months? What we found in the industry is that the consumer seems to like it better when they have it all right in front of them, as opposed to this month and this next month. Then you can hop around in how you make it, and you still can stream it out to a block of the month if you choose to, but you're just working a little more efficiently, because a lot of times on a quilt block like this, where there are 1 to 15 blocks, you'll do 2 that look very similar, but the coloration may change, and one may get a 4-patch in the corner and one may have a triangle in the corner, and that kind of creates the block looking a little bit differently. So this is the collection that actually should have been in the store, we thought, about 4 days ago. We just tracked it, and it is sitting to be delivered. So when it comes here, we're not real sure. Should be here probably Monday at the latest. But the way that Yoder's will be presenting this, they have it in, and it comes with a full picture like this and all the directions for doing it in a bag for this. And for the yardage for this size quilt, that is an incredible price. So the $160.98, and for those of you purchasing, it's, yes. So for all the pattern, and everything, and all the fabric, for the top only, not the backing. The backing is a separate yardage, of course. For those of you that are viewing here, I think, I'll check this. I think there's a discount if you're in, even online, I think if you're buying this, there is a discount over and above this. But they won't be able, they'll have to ship the kits because the fabric was delayed in coming in. But this is the first time, I mean, Yoder's will be the first store that has received the shipment because they were having an event, and when they request it, then the company is able to get that out to them. So we'll be cutting kits for this, And I checked with Andre, and if you purchase it, they will ship it free. So the kit will ship to you free. And for any of you watching online, that's the same situation. And I would expect they'd be able to get these in the mail midweek. And that's kind of a wild card guess, but I'm thinking that's going to be pretty good. And what we were able to do also, just to the right of me, we just put up a little picture with all the fabrics that actually live in the collection. And for those of you who shop with pre-cuts, you know, the 5 and 10 inch squares and the 2.5 inch strips, all of those are also available in this collection. The company doesn't always do those on print lines. They do it on their basics and their batiks, but not always on a print cotton line. But these will be available as well in 5s, 10s, and 2.5s. Now, for those of you who are shopping, and I think this is online as well as in the store, if you buy pre-cuts and you buy 2 pre-cuts, it can be 1 5 inch square, 1 10, whatever you buy, your third one is 75 cents. That's the deal. And that's over at Yoder's. So all of the cottons and everything will be over there. So if you're like, gosh, I want one of those in red, white, and blue, and we'll talk about that a little bit more in a trunk show at 3, then that gives you an opportunity to build on that. So do you have any questions so far? And then I'll scoot over and do something. Yes, ma'am. It's that big. It's that big. I was, you know what? I could pay her for to ask that question because I'm such a smart aleck. Because I'm like, I don't remember. It's 82.5 by 92. But when somebody says, here I got a table runner, how big is it? That big? I don't know. How big is that? But that was a smart aleck answer. But thank you for asking. I didn't pay her to ask either. But here's what's so great. We had the people that have purchased this so far. One of the things that I want you to look at when you look at the quilt, through the center is the actual border stripe. That's the width of the repeating stripe, we call it. But when the outside border is done, the way sometimes we'll decide to write a pattern is to kind of conserve yardage a little bit so that, okay, by the time you have to buy another 3 yards of repeating stripe, because that stripe gets cut in half and that moves over on this side and that side, so you get more out of your yardage, you get more impact, because this looks like you did a little piecing and it's just the outside. So you cut your repeating stripe dead in the center, which really is neat. But of the kits we've sold so far, I think every one has added 3 yards of the repeating stripe because they want this a tad wider. So in the event that you did, you have more than 2 ways to widen this quilt. You would have to add to yardage over and above what comes in the kit. You could widen this, your first border. You could put your double stripe, you could put the full stripe here. Then you also could put a piece on either side of this one. So let's just say here I decided to pick up, I don't know, a green. There's a little soft green in this collection. Then I could still make that center bar, instead of the width of the repeating stripe, I could add 2 or 3 inches to that with no problem with the center of that. So that could easily it's tough to get these to a king because your king top is 78 by 80 for an average king. And if you want to drape down the sides, you're just going to have to add some extra border. And you can do it with a stripe. And what we typically say, have a plain spread on and let it be a topper, because sometimes that's easier to execute than it is to do it the other way. Do we have any questions online? Has anybody where are those people? Why aren't they asking a question? What is the matter with them? See, I paid this woman to ask a question, and she did. So there you go. So let me move back over here, and I want to show you something. And if you guys that are watching online decide to stay with us for the next, because we're going to make this one a little short because we just wanted to talk about the fabric. Then in the next segment, we're going to show you how we've cut some of this and how our choices are to cut it with specialty rulers and AccuQuilt. So we're going to talk a couple of ways, but I want to show you, I did this little project just kind of like I was going out the door. So what this is the same fabric that's in that. And I just decided to make a cute little star. And I came up with, it's a table runner, and Meredith said, well, gosh, wouldn't it be a great pillow topper? So you could make, and you could certainly take any, these are 12-inch blocks. So you could take any 12-inch block out of your quilt pattern and make it 2 blocks on point, and that would yield you 2 great pillow toppers that would be king size, because your 12-inch block on point is 17 inches. So 2 of them is 34, and by the time you add your borders, you've got 2 king size fillers then. So that would work really well. And we have these cut that we're going to demo in our next segment, and we're going to be talking then a little bit about how to use specialty rulers and how to use AccuQuilt. Now for the kit, let me show you. This is the kit. So this is what the kit looks like right here. So it'll come cut like this with the set of patterns. And this is my personal work copy. So once we do a block of the month like this, I actually go through the first 3 pages of our block of the month, 2 or 3 typically are cutting directions. How to cut the entire quilt. So you take your SKU number, this pattern A, pattern B, pattern C, and you cut all of these, and then so you can cut 1 or 2 days, then take a vacation and come back and sew. So it just makes it really easy. Then I have cross marked out as I work through on the blocks. And sometimes I decide I'm going to skip to the 15th block and start there. And that's why I love a block of the month that is packaged this way, because it lets you work around your lifestyle and what's going on in your life and how you're going to partner it. So I will tell you that I made this quilt top from start to finish from the day the fabric came. I was probably about 2.5 days maybe on it, and that's not sewing 12 hours a day, but I did the cutting at one time, and for the most part, and then I went back and I just, sew. But it's very easy sewing, so any of you out there that are beginners, this would certainly be a project that I wouldn't be intimidated by. It is written for traditional math only, and that's typically how we write all of our traditional math. The Yoder's is also kitting this little runner. Oh, Shayla, how much is it? $20.98 is what the fabric is that makes this. So this could be part of your same package here. And the pattern is right here. So we've got a little pattern, and it will come in the kit. It tells you what your yardage is. It gives you your cutting size, and it gives you 2 methods of cutting. It gives you how to do it with a specialty ruler, which I'll cover in the next segment, and it also tells you how to do it with AccuQuilt. So any of you that own your AccuQuilt, your cutter and your dies, if you own the 8-inch cube, you will get this exact size. So we'll get into that a little bit deeper in our next talk, but that is kind of another little bonus. So you have the price point on this, and if you're ordering these online, the company is shipping, Yoder's is shipping free because of the price point of the order. Now, if it's the $20.98 by itself, you probably will have a shipping charge on that. But if it's the full, we should be in good shape on that. If you are buying online, here's the key. You have to look for this all under Kaye Sapphire. So that's how they're coding it on the department store's website. So when you want to find and we call this the birthday block, so this is the birthday celebration. So if you type in these words, it will go to what the kit price is for the block of the month, and it will go to what the price is for this little fellow, and this will be packed. The pattern will be printed out and in the package for this. So $20.98 on this, and $160.98 on that. And if Linda, excuse us online while I ask a question. Linda, if they order this online, is that discount only in the store? Oh, you're supposed to know these answers. Linda makes something up. Nobody's here that can argue with us. Sure. Well, because for those in the store, this also, you get an extra 15% discount. because of the birthday party. And I'm pretty sure that applies online. And if it doesn't, y'all type in Linda said it did. And then I'll be out of town and it won't make any difference. So Linda, I'm sorry, you may have to job hunt. So if that's your problem.
We can order and pay over at Yoder's for this kit.
You can order it for her. She can handle it for you right here, but it will ship from Yoder's department store. But Linda can write the order for you. Okay? See, good. We're doing good on time. We're going to be short and sweet so we can get ready. But y'all ask some questions. Don't you have questions? You or the website?
Buy your quilt so I can take a picture.
I will when we're finished. I absolutely will. I'll be more than happy to do that.
That's what I was going to ask too.
Yeah. Do you guys have a question online?
No, just comments about the discount. Happy.
Oh, happy on a discount. Doesn't everybody love a discount? Well, I was just asked a question. You probably didn't hear it. And they're asking about llamas. Now, that has nothing to do with the fabric collection. But I do have some llamas and some fiber goats, which are the Angora goats. And they have mohair. And for those of you who don't know anything about goats, mohair is the most expensive fiber in the universe. And y'all might all want to go out and buy an Angora goat tomorrow because they produce 50% of their body weight a year in fiber. And the Angora fiber is about $100 a pound when it's processed. So a 75-pound animal is going to produce roughly 30-some pounds of fiber in a year. So that's why I have them. Then people say, do you sell it? And then people go, do you sell it? And I went, nope, I haven't thought of that yet. I just collect it. So between sewing, so I sew and I do that. But do any of you ladies in the audience, do you have a question for us regarding this besides animals? Oh, come on. You have.
How many? How many do you have?
Oh, I have. Well, right now I'm fostering 5 little Angora goats, but I personally own 3 and 4 llamas. So I have 7. Our herd just, it's like us, old age, herd just dwindles down. But, and we do live on some land. So I do a little bit. I can spin, I can do that, but I do spend most of my time working. I design for Wilmington Prints, and we are doing a trunk show here live at 3 o'clock, which will show you a little bit more about the company. And I've worked with them for close to 30 years with the fabric company. And I do somewhere between, sometimes it's 2 lines a year, sometimes it's 3 lines a year. So it varies somewhere in that. And 90% of my work falls into what I would call traditional work, more from vintage and reproduction, that sort of thing. But Linda can write the order for you. And for those of you viewing online, if you go to the Kaye Sapphire, you will be able to purchase this online as well. So I don't know how to make this any longer other than say short and sweet. Yes, ma'am. Oh, I have a question. Yes, ma'am. There's no such thing as a bad question.
You design the fabric and the quilt?
Yes.
What comes first?
The chicken. She asked me, she said, the question was, do we design the fabric and the quilt and which comes first? And I said the chicken because I'm a smart aleck. Typically fabric. Of course. And that's a good question because we had quite a few people talking about that yesterday. Is what's the time frame involved in this? And if you haven't been anybody talk to you about how fabric comes about, we get an idea. And the way I work with the company, and I've been with them so long, they determine what we need. They determine that we need a blue collection. I don't necessarily get that call all the time. And then once I choose the patterns, or lay out a batch of X, and I'm working primarily from, I have a huge collection of vintage textiles. And so from those, we pull the pattern. But what we do that's different today from the fabric you might have seen as stripe 20 years ago, is we know now that we need cutting lines. You know, you got to have that 1/4 inch cutting line. Well, if I bought a stripe like this repeating stripe, and this is a pattern from about the mid 1800s, it's an actual piece of textile from that time period. If I bought that then, there would be no 1/4 inch cut line. You would have to lose part of your floral in order to get the seam allowances that you would need. So what the fabric companies are doing, what Wilmington is so great at, is they we add cut lines and we add spaces for you to cut these stripes so that you don't lose pattern. So your design element is much easier. And the other thing that we do when there's, you know how there's a floral that runs this way, and then, so if there's 4 of them and they all run that way, what do you want? You want the reverse. So I will tell you, start looking at repeating stripes, because I bet 75% of the repeating stripes in the industry are all going to lean. So by the time you try to get that around your quilt looks a little bit like that, because everything is running left and truly. And I said, this was years ago, I said, let's flip these. Let's mirror image this so that one mirrors to the left and one mirrors to the right. Then you can put a side border on and a top and bottom border on and keep the look a little bit better. So we usually run from, to answer your question a little bit closer, we typically are about a year from the time we conceive a look and a pattern. The colors are done, all the patterns are chosen, and then the line is named. When the line is named, then there's always a project sheet that comes with it that's kind of a simple quilt, kind of like what we'll show a lot of those in the trunk show. It's a little bit simpler quilt. And then the block of the month, my last 5 lines have been a block of the month. And I have another one that will be, I should have the kit for it within the next week or so, but it won't ship until March. So we work about a year out. So from the time we decide we're going to do it and it shows up in either Cotton Corner or Yoder's department store, it's probably going to be close to a year. Yeah. So there's a lot of planning in it. And with COVID affecting so many people, and for those of you watching us online, this is why that Yoder's decided that you couldn't all come to us, so we'd come to you. And by doing that, for those of you who aren't knowledgeable about the store, it kind of tells you a little bit more about what Yoder's is all about, how the Cotton Corner is a part of, even though it's a separate entity in this building, it is still part of the Yoder's family business. And I don't know how you need it. I always say if they don't have it, y'all probably don't need it. That's been my standard answer about coming here. So we're going to stop and take some pictures. Thank you, folks that have visited us online, and we will look forward to getting your comments, and we still can answer a comment. So if you think of a question, well, just pop it up there, because we'll be on YouTube. These will be uploaded onto YouTube, so if you missed the live show, you can go in and watch it anytime, and someone from the store will reply to you. So thank you for joining us today. Thank you in the audience for joining us, and we'll see you folks in an hour. Well, what, 30 minutes?